Who is the biggest troll in history? Orson Welles did a radio play that told people the Martians were invading. The next day he told everyone that his play had freaked out millions of people, when it was a few dozen at most. Diogenes, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Diogenes. He became notorious for his philosophical stunts, such as carrying a lamp during the day, claiming to be looking for an honest man. He criticized Plato, disputed his interpretation of Socrates, and sabotaged his lectures, sometimes distracting listeners by bringing food and eating during the discussions. Diogenes was also noted for having mocked Alexander the Great, both in public and to his face when he visited Corinth in 336 BC. Andy Kaufman. D.B. Cooper. Reddit user. Malleable Duck Rick rolled Rick Astley here in Reddit. Whoever told people to rush Area 51? When the notorious drug lord, Pablo Escobar, stood outside of the White House with his son. Meanwhile the DEA and police searched for him. https://rarehistoricalphotos.com/Pablo-Escobar-White-House-backstory/ When God told 100-year-old Abraham to go kill his only son and then was like, lol psych, right before he actually did it. The motherfucker who sold the Eiffel Tower. Twice. https://www.smithsonianmag.com/history/man-who-sold-Eiffel-tower-twice-180958370/. I forget the name, but that one guy from the 1800s who bought specific tickets to a play and then gave them away to bald men on the street so that when everyone took their seats and the bald men's heads reflected the light from the stage, they spelled out, fuck, as seen from the stage. Sacha Baron Cohen. Michelangelo without a doubt. This man was hired to paint a chapel and put more dicks and asses on it than you ever did see. The guy who faked cancer at our teenagers. Rafid Ahmed Alwan al-Janabi, known by the Defense Intelligence Agency cryptonym, Curveball, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/curveball_informant informant. Marcel Duchamp, who, among other fun things, submitted a urinal as an art piece to the Society of Independent Artists under a pseudonym, and then was part of the board that was set to approve pieces. He also spread rumors of another piece he was working on so people wouldn't suspect anything. Love that dude. Plus he sparked an interesting discussion in art. Andy Kaufman deserves a nod for sure. If you've never seen the videos of him becoming a semi-pro wrestler just so he can taunt Southerners, go look that shit up. The guy who decided to put an ice troll 3/4 the way up the path to High Hrothgar. William Horace de Vere Cole. He fooled the British Navy with one of his pranks. Gavrilo Princip. John Hancock. Nostradamus. This Chinese general whose city was besieged by a much larger army, so he opened the main gate and sat atop it playing his flute. The enemy thought it was a trap, so they packed their stuff and left. The Christian Crusaders and also Wendy's. Pope John XII. He was pope during his teenage and late 20s, so naturally we all know that he was kind of an ass. But he was not only an ass, but literally the biggest ass of not giving a fuck. He would do wine and sexual debauchery, and literally did not give a fuck about anything that happened. He was the ruler of papal states until he died. But yeah, John XII was not a good pope. If anything, he was the worst pope in the century, but he was literally the physical embodiment of rich and powerful connections. The old-timey NYC newspaper The Sun Emo. In the 19th century, they published some articles about the presence of life on the moon, like unicorns, winged humans, and other creatures who built temples and lived peacefully. This caused a massive moon craze until it was later outed as fake. Salvador Dali. The trolls in the Hellboy movie that came out last year were surprisingly large. Surely Andy Kaufman. He was the first person to make it into a career right. Didn't George R.R. Martin once say that in the future he would love to get people so immersed in a fantasy world novel and never finish it? Russians, and how they continuously retreated when Napoleon tried to attack them, resulting him giving up due to the situations his army was facing, like disease. Disclaimer: I'm agnostic, so I can't say for sure, but if religion is false, whomever invented religion, making people believe there is life after death and then you die and nothing's there, that would be the biggest troll. Vince McMahon. Whoever was responsible for the last season of GOT. Marcel Duchamp. Whoever has been posting the Q drops for the past 4 years. Sacha Baron Cohen. The one that lives under the world's biggest bridge. The 9/11 pilots. My mom, who told me my dad is my dad when in fact they used a sperm donor. Rick Astley put the Rick roll as his channel intro. GTA protagonists. Whoever decided to delete Club Penguin. Nathan Fielder, Sacha Baron Cohen. Those monkeys who climbed out of the water. Michelangelo. He was a troll when he was painting the Sistine Chapel, adding a few little jokes in there, and he painted the rude minister in hell, and to add insult to injury, Mike drew a snake biting off his dick. The troll under the bridge in the Billy Goat's Gruff story. Westboro Baptist Church. IDK who but Hitler porn takes the cake on this one. Roger Patterson, if he was the one behind the infamous 1967 Bigfoot film. Leroy Jenkins. I'm mad no one is saying Rick Astley. Woodrow Wilson. Guy spent his whole career telling people one thing, doing another, and then calling you out if you found him hypocritical. He was an absolute loony and was somehow one of the most importantly influential U.S. presidents of all time. Theodore Hook, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Theodore_Hook the perpetrator of the Berners Street hoax in London in 1810, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Berners_Street_hoax in which Cook sent thousands of letters summoning all manners of various vendors and service people and physicians and dignitaries and others to all come to one random person's home, literally shutting down a large part of London as they all descended upon the same address throughout the day, all while Cook and a friend sat watching from a house across the street, presumably laughing their asses off the whole time. Sacha Baron Cohen. Jesus wrecking an entire temple. Andrew Hussey. Belle Delphine. The troll face. Benjamin Franklin vs. Leeds Titan. S. father, Daniel Leeds, was a devout Quaker who fell out with the local Quaker community when he began publishing the almanac in 1687. Daniel Leeds turned over publication to his son, Titan, in 1716. The American Almanac pre-dated Franklin's Almanac. Greater than Franklin used the first edition of his almanac to promote the hoax prediction of Leeds's death, October 17, 1733, 3:29 p.m., at the very instant of the conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, and encouraged his readers to buy next year's edition of Poor Richard's Almanac to see if Franklin was right as a publicity stunt and attempt to drive Titan Leeds's American Almanac out of business. 1. Greater than when the date of Leeds' supposed passing had come and gone, Franklin published Leeds's obituary anyway. When challenged by the very much alive Leeds, Franklin insisted that Leeds had in fact died, but that he was being impersonated by an inferior publisher. When Leeds actually died in 1738, Franklin publicly commended the impostors for ending their charade. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Titan_Leeds. Asterisk thinks about it hard, asterisk Andrew Wakefield. 2020. Eric the Red. He wanted people to come and live in his newfound ice-covered land, so he named it Greenland. I am not sure of the exact definition of a troll, but there is this, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/telegram_crisis. Bugs Bunny. That guy who created the machine that summoned rain in California and actually got the government to fund him. Rasputin with surviving 2 or 3 assassinations. Andy Kaufman. The guy's whole life was just things he thought were funny that would fuck with other people. The one from the room through the trap door in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Infamous Minecraft grafer Pop Bob. Those guys that wrote, Kilroy was here, during WW2. Herostratus. He burned the Temple of Artemis around 400 BC. Just for the lulz and the notoriety apparently. They killed him for it, painfully, and enacted a law forbidding his name from ever been mentioned. Yet here we are more than 2,000 years later, and Herostratus is not forgotten. Rick Astley, I mean come on. He managed to successfully asterisk the entire freaking nation asterisk at a Macy's Thanksgiving parade. The Rickroll died for a while after that cause everybody believed that this is where it peaked. Nobody can ever hope to top that. Until somebody Rickrolled the man himself, but still. Perez Hilton. The prophet Elijah heckled the priests of Baal because their God would not set fire to their sacrifice. IIRC. The Bible says the priests of Baal prayed all day while Elijah heckled them. Thanks for watching. See you later.